I wanted to make this quick video on a common theme that I've seen in my life and also the lives of many other people. But it's 2:59 a.m. I have my notes here, and also it's my source of light because I'm in the garage right now and it's dark. But if you don't know who I am, my name's Eric. I'm currently 20 years old, and I do content, so you probably seen me from either Instagram or TikTok, but I also run my business where I help other people get into the best shape of their lives while still sustaining, their lifestyle, right? But what I wanted to get into today was near the end of my high school, I had to learn how to open up my cold and stone heart to the idea of believing in God, right? Specifically, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And what this meant that I had to accept was the fact that we are sentient beings made in the image of God. So this gives us this level of authority and divinity as humans, but this is honestly something that most people can't tap into, mainly because of how society has killed that for us and kept us distracted, right? Every single year there's a new thing that makes it much easier for us to just stay the same person, and that absolutely sucks. This literally kills our creativity as humans and as men. But not to get too deeply into that specifically, I wanted to go over and share how powerful our minds actually are and how through all the psyop we can still take control. And it's so powerful that if we believe that we couldn't do something and that we weren't powerful, then our minds would make that into reality. The thing is, this also works the other way around. You might have heard of the quote about how the man that thinks that they can and the man that thinks that they can't are both right? It's just about who you choose to be. And I know that that seems like some surface level, simple BS, but if you break it down, then it's truly not as far-fetched as you think it is, right? But understanding that, right? Understanding how you can choose to become the person who thinks that they can do things. Why do you always choose and live in congruence to the life of the person who can't do shit? It's either you're too lazy or too arrogant to believe that a significant goal is achievable for somebody or even yourself, right? You have the same potential as somebody as successful as Elon Musk, for example, a billionaire who can literally give $1 billion to each person on this earth and still be well off and not have a dent in his bank account at all. But you still believe that things aren't, possible for you. There's literally no difference between Elon Musk and yourself, but you still choose to live in this way where you don't think anything's possible, when there's somebody who's out there living that exact life. You continuously feed this negative mentality. And a podcast that George Janko and Andrew Tate had recently, which broke the internet for a period of time, this specific quote was extremely popular, where George Janko said to Andrew, there are two wolves, right? One in the light and one in the dark. Which one lives? Andrew answers that question by saying, oh, well, obviously the one in the light. George says, though, it's the one that you feed, right? And in this context, the one in the dark and the one in the light, that's your negative mentality, and that's your positive, optimistic mentality where, anything's achievable. You still choose to feed that wolf in the dark, and that's why you continue to help it grow in your mind. That's why things that are achievable for you seem so far-fetched. It seems like it's so far away, and it's because you continue to feed this negative mentality every single time something bad happens because of you, And the only reason why I know this is because this happened to me. On my upbringing, literally no more than 4 years ago, when I was pursuing my personal development as well, every little thing, right? Whether it was in a conversation I stuttered, during a presentation I stuttered, failing a PR in the gym, or missing a gym session because I let, time pass me by, I would always beat myself up about it, and it left me thinking about it for days. And that's because I reinforced that negative mentality in myself, and it made it so that I was always less than my potential. The littlest things would haunt me for days, and I never thought highly of myself, and that's why that killed my optimism and my self-belief. The thing is, if you don't believe in yourself when you're pursuing a significant goal, what makes you think others will? Then you sit there wondering why people don't support you, people treat you differently, they don't take you seriously, and then you start thinking everyone's out to get you, everything's working against you, and you have this victim mentality. But brother, it's because you genuinely can't have that confidence in yourself that you can achieve what you set out to do. This is truly destructive to your spirit as a human being, and you'll always be a slave to what other people tell you if you can't fix this broken mentality. The only way this is possible for you is by moving. Just think about it. Depression, sadness, self-doubt, all this negativity in your mind can't catch you if you continue to move, right? If you're moving too fast, if you are occupied with your body, then your mind can't catch up with these negativities, right? You're too focused on the next thing you have to do. And that's why doing things is the all cure for whatever self-doubts you have. All it takes, brother, nobody's asking you to move fucking mountains, right? It only takes one step every single day with intention, right? And every single step, you can get 1% better every single day. And in a year's span, you can truly transcend. To make things easy, this can be in the form of a 4-step process every single morning. At least you can have that, right? What I do every single day, you can literally see it on my Instagram right now because I posted on my stories that every single day I wake up, I make my bed, I take my supplements, I hydrate, I do my 50 daily push-ups, and I take a cold shower, right? So how would I lose as a person, and how would I not believe in myself if I'm starting my day with all these small wins, right? It doesn't take that much, because when your value derives from the things that you do, instead of, having that, end goal that's long term, then you wouldn't feel bad about where you're at right now. Stop focusing so much on that end goal and focus more on the inputs. Focus on every single rep, every single step that you can take today, right? Fitness was a huge part in my self-improvement journey, but if I kept worrying and deriving value from the end goal of having that physique that I wanted, right? The jawline, the six-pack, the bigger biceps, the bigger shoulders, right? I would never get there because I couldn't even focus on what I was doing today. And every single time that I would fail, I would, kill my motivation, right? That's what keeps you stuck in this constant cycle of despair, and it never gets you out of that hole back on course towards your goals, right? You can never escape that if you continue to derive value from already being at the destination and not just pursuing the journey, right? During the midst of things, I had to kill that mindset of mine and just focus on the routine. Focus on the routine every single day of tracking my macros, eating the meals even when I didn't feel like it, continuing to try to show up in the gym even though I kept failing PRs, I kept failing lifts, and I didn't feel like going, right? I continued to show up on that set schedule, and eventually things started clicking. I started loving the process, right? I stopped caring so much about the destination and found fulfillment in the everyday inputs but I had to learn to love it, right? I had to learn to like what I was doing, and I kept my head down for long enough to just do the work until I looked up and I was already the person that I wanted to be, right? It only took 1.5 years for me to significantly change my physique, and I only could do that, right? I couldn't even fathom being able to bench press 100 pounds over my body weight at 17 years old, a junior in high school, and I wouldn't be able to achieve that if I didn't destroy that limiting mindset and focus on the inputs and building that optimistic mindset that I needed to have. You should always think of adversity as just a test for how much you really want that goal, right? How much do you really want it? If you're somebody who sabotages their own mindset, how do you expect to actually deal with the problems that comes with having a significant achievement? It's not easy to have a six-pack year-round. 99.99% of people don't have that. Literally, billionaires are skinny fat. And you expect to be able to, get there and sustain that. You expect to get rich when literally 90% of people don't ever. You expect to get rich. You expect to have a fruitful relationship with a good woman, right? These are all goals that are extremely high, but you literally sabotage yourself by thinking that you can't even achieve it, right? How do you expect to do the work? How do you expect to even, do things towards your goals, get better as a human being? Like, this is probably why most people have such victim mentality, meaning they think everything's out to get them and they can't seem to do anything and change because they don't believe change is possible for them, right? But I'm here to tell you that you're fucking wrong. Stop telling yourself that things aren't meant for you and things aren't possible for you. Let me tell you that you can do it, but the reason why you can't is because you have that limiting belief. I understand fully how difficult it is to stick to this. Sometimes even I forget, and I, have that negativity in my mindset about the things. Like, I'm trying to pursue business right now, not school. I have people doubting me, and I even have my own self-doubts. But I always have to remember that the reason why I have that is because I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, right? Stop waiting to get motivated before you start doing things. I understand exactly how that feels, right? This self-improvement-esque things that you're doing, like studying for your business or hitting the gym and, tracking macros and logging your meals. All this seems so out of character whenever you jump into doing it. But whenever it feels that way, that means you have to do it. You have to do it at this stage, because if not, you'll always continue to think, oh, it's too corny for me. It's not meant for me. And then wonder why you're in the position you are right now, right? I understand fully how hard it is to remember, especially if you see no progress from it. But you can't even expect to have progress if you haven't been doing it for long enough, right? Whenever you start doubting, remember to start moving, and you'll continue to get better with your goals. And I would start with that daily early morning process that you can do, right? And hopefully it's something that's at least challenging for you. You can literally copy mine, right? Every single time I do the 50 push-ups, I feel great. Every single time I take my supplements, it's making me feel better throughout my day, helping me in the gym. Every single time that I win that battle of taking the cold shower, right? I always feel fulfilled, and I'm ready to conquer any problem that comes my way, right? If I can't do something as simple as taking a shower where the water is just cold, right? How do I expect to deal with the problems that it takes to have the dream outcome that I want? If you're coming from an autopilot lifestyle, literally drifting and living the same routine life that you hate, and you don't like the way that you look in the mirror, you don't like the way that you live, then that's exactly what I help with. So book a call in the link in the description. We'll talk and I'll qualify you to see if you're a good fit for my coaching. But other than that, always remember that the reason why you can't live the life you want to live, achieve the things you want to achieve, is because you don't fully believe in yourself. The reason you don't fully believe in yourself is because you're not doing the actions that are incongruent to that belief, right? You live in this lifestyle that reassures your negative mentality because you're living as a drifter and doing bullshit, right? You say you want to do something, you do something else that, doesn't align with that. You have to have that belief that you can do it first and then have the actions to back that up. All right. Whenever in doubt, always take action, right? Look at your life, set up a fucking plan, and continue to commit to it. And that's how you actually change. All right.